Hello everyone, welcome back to a new cinema deep dive, or rather a new analysis where we explore the hidden psychology behind our favorite films. If you've got your coffee ready, get comfortable, because today we're diving deep. Every single year we rush to the cinemas with so much excitement. Those massive blockbuster movies shot with billion-dollar budgets, brand new galaxies, post-apocalyptic wasteland worlds. We look at that giant screen, get completely mesmerized, and think, man, this is the most original story ever told. But between us, most of those magnificent packages that modern cinema sells us as brand new are actually just different versions of a single story told 3,000 years ago by a bearded Greek bard, Homer. What is that story, you ask? Nostos, which literally means the homecoming. You've probably heard of Homer's famous hero, Odysseus. After years of fighting a brutal war, his only goal is to return home, to his wife Penelope, to his safe haven. Today, those turbulent Aegean waters and sea monsters might have been replaced by the cold void of space and endless deserts, but humanity is still utterly obsessed with watching stories of people trying to get back home. But why are we so hooked on this narrative? Let's break it down together. Now, our first stop is Christopher Nolan's mind-bending masterpiece, Interstellar. I want you to remember the very first time you watched this film on a massive cinema screen, when that terrifying, freezing dark void of space appeared on the frame, and Hans Zimmer's haunting, divine church organ started echoing in your ears. You literally get glued to your seat, right? You feel like you're losing your breath, completely swallowed by that vast emptiness, encountering a chilling cosmic reality. On the surface, you look at it and think, the Earth is dying, dust storms are choking everything, and our hero astronaut Cooper is diving into massive black holes just to save humanity. It looks like a grand epic rescue mission, but the psychological reality underneath is entirely different. There's a French psychoanalyst who I love, and who loves to mess with our brains, Jacques Lacan. Lacan says that the moment a human being is cut off from that absolute maternal comfort and thrust into the world, they feel an inherent lack. For the rest of their lives, they struggle to fill that void, desperately trying to return to that ultimate, safe home. Well, Cooper's character is the exact embodiment of this endless search for the lack. Trust me, saving the universe isn't really what he cares about. His sole obsession is getting back to his daughter Murph, to that purest form of love, to his true self. Remember those moments where space-time bends mercilessly and gigantic, towering water waves crash down on that alien planet? And then think of Cooper inside that five-dimensional tesseract room, desperately thrashing behind the bookshelves. When he pounds on the glass and cries out, "Stay!" That to me is one of the most heartbreaking depictions of human helplessness ever put on film. And the reason our throats tighten in the theater is simple. You can cross universes, dimensions, and galaxies. But if the place you call home slips away through the hands of time, you can never go back to the time you lost. So, what happens when the oceans dry up? Let's take you away from that sterile, freezing cold of space and drop you right into the scorching, rusted, chaotic deserts of Mad Max Fury Road. When I first watched this film, the visual poisoning I felt when seeing that flame-spouting heavy metal guitarist, those endless amber sandstorms, and that raw kinetic energy, that pure "what am I even looking at right now" shock, is something I'll never forget. At first, director George Miller seems to just hand us a pure, sweaty, deafening action ride. But if you're even a little familiar with film theory, you'll see that the driving core here is also a powerhouse of a Nostos, except this time, our epic hero isn't Max. The beating heart of the story is Imperator Furiosa herself. Unlike decades of cinema where female characters were reduced to passive damsels waiting for a male hero to rescue them, Furiosa takes the steering wheel directly into her own hands. Where is she heading, risking everything? To that utopian green place she was violently torn from as a child. She wants to return to her matriarchal home in a ruined world. And yet that's precisely where grand epic stories deliver their most brutal psychological plot twist. Furiosa crosses this insane distance, fights, sheds blood, only to discover that the home she dreamed of for years has turned into a toxic swamp. A real home simply doesn't exist anymore. It's straight out of French philosopher Jean Baudrillard's theory of simulation, chasing after an illusion that was never really there or has long since vanished. Doesn't this hit a little too close to home? Sometimes the exact goal you sacrifice years of your life to reach turns out to be entirely different once you finally get there. What do you do when you're faced with this kind of total emptiness, this crushing disappointment? It's Friedrich Nietzsche's famous, slightly chilling quote, "If you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you." But Furiosa doesn't surrender to that abyss, to that darkness. She breaks down, lets out that raw, painful cry toward the sky, but then she stands right back up and turns around. "If there's no home left to go back to," she says, "then I'll turn back, take over the dictator's hell, and build a home with my own two hands." So, to wrap things up, my friends, whether it's in the freezing, terrifying depths of space or the scorching, brutal deserts of the apocalypse, what we are staring at with our jaws dropped on the silver screen is nothing less than our own inner journey. We are no different from our ancestors who gathered around campfires in caves thousands of years ago, listening to legends with absolute awe. The only thing that changed is that those tiny campfires have now been replaced by massive IMAX screens and digital effects, that's all. We are all searching for our lost safe havens, our own green places, to fill that internal void, and perhaps we are all still right in the middle of that long homecoming journey, who knows. That's all from me for today. Stay the main character of your own story, and never forget to find the strength to build your own home no matter what. If you enjoyed these cinema analyses and story breakdowns, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Until the next video in the hidden world of another film, take care, stay cinematic, and stay safe.